Anybody that follows my channel knows that I played Fractured Online back when this MMO released in early access, and I didn't like it very much. It had a lackluster world that felt thrown together, didn't have NPCs. What? No NPCs? What are you doing? I didn't like the forced crafting, and I thought the combat was bad. And generally, Fractured Online, it just wasn't for me. Not at all. I didn't think I'd be talking about Fractured Online again, but they've announced what sounds like some pretty meaty updates and new content since they've taken it offline to work on it, and a lot of my complaints look to be getting addressed. Before we dig into all the new content coming from Fractured Online, the MMO, my name is Nathan, and I cover MMOs and RPGs, as well as stream like every day on the channel, as well as gaming news. Please hit that like button like it owes you money, and subscribe for more. Now, Fractured Online went offline shortly after going live for an early access so they could address the issues plaguing the MMO. This is an indie-developed MMO, and it gathered quite the crowd during early access, but most players left only a week or two later, just finding there wasn't enough content or things to do in the game. Well, Fractured Online broke away from the evil clutches of Gamigo, thanks to some help from MMO Co, and has taken the time to try to address all of this, and back in June, they held another test showing off that they had added a revamp of character progression to be more in line with the traditional leveling system in MMOs, as well as a revamp to the talent system. They also overhauled the crafting with more resources and materials, and the early game experience was tweaked as well, and it got rid of one of the continents. Instead of 3 continents, they decided to focus on the 2 that were more fleshed out and flesh them out even further. And last but not least, they added new creatures for more variety and some extra points of interest to make the world more exciting to explore. And now, since June, they've been hard at work with even more features for their next early access. And this time, they plan for no future wipes, so characters will carry on into the full launch of Fractured Online, or at least that's the plan. They expect to release the early access on Steam in a few weeks, so probably late September, early October. They claim that these new features I'm going to outline here are completed or very close to completion. Let's see what they got. Alchemy, in the form of potions that can be drank while resting to give bonuses like attribute and modifier boosts, but limiting how many potions you can drink by introducing a new system called toxicity. So as you drink a potion, your toxicity increases, and the more toxicity you have, the slower your health regenerates. So you will have to be mindful of that, and that allows for situations like gear to reduce toxicity and talents that help you be able to handle more of it and all that kind of thing. Also, speaking of resting, they've added that you can rest anywhere. You no longer have to be near a fire. This helps you to regenerate health and mana faster, just like a standard MMO. Really should have been in the game from the beginning, like a lot of this stuff. However, it's worth mentioning that you will still need to be near a fire to memorize abilities and talent presets, and every time you die, you do still take a debuff to the max amount of health that you have, and this will need to be cleared off at a home or a tavern. Fractured Online has also changed the charisma stat to instead be the wisdom stat, which increases max mana, willpower, and how effective spells are in the leadership, illusion, abjuration, restoration, necromancy, and witchcraft. They are also considering removing the luck stat completely from the MMO, as they say it really doesn't tie to anything, it's kind of useless. They also are going to flesh out their talent tree with full talents to take you to max level, with a ton of new ones to choose from and a complete rework to the whole talent system. Now the legends, those were kind of like bosses. You had to perform certain tasks to get them to spawn, and they've added a ton of new ones with new mechanics and loot, and now come in more forms than the aforementioned summonable ones. Now the legendary encounters can be fixed in certain locations on the map and respawn on set timers. They have wandering bosses that spawn at random locations and roam around looking for noobs to slay, and they also have what they're calling ultimate legends, which are bosses where you have to kill waves of enemies kind of in a gauntlet style fashion to summon the boss. NPCs are actually being added to the 2 major cities in the MMO, and I can't believe they ever tried to do an early access without NPCs, but man, they sure did. They sure did do that. They sure did. But thankfully, the cities will not feel as apocalyptic as before with empty buildings everywhere, but instead will have NPCs. However, what purposes the NPCs have has not actually been announced. Hopefully the typical, at least. We can sell items to them, we can buy some low-level crappy stuff, we can get some quests maybe even. and all the things that we kind of just expect in an MMO these days, obviously. You will be able also to enchant items as well as making things like +2, +3, +4 to increase their power, but besides needing gold to enchant, you will also need enchanting dust. And how do you get enchanting dust, you ask? From the cash shop. No, I'm just kidding. Well, that may be true too, I don't know. But the way you get enchanting dust is, well, mobs can now drop divine rewards, which comes in, you know, different tiers. So you got Valiant, Heroic, Fabled, Epic, and Legendary. The harder the mob, the better the chance of the higher tier drops, and you activate these divine rewards by right-clicking on them, and they dump out gold, enchanting dust, random recipes, or random orbs. There's also been a ton of rebalancing with the values of armor, weapons, and spells. They expect that balancing, of course, with all, just like all MMOs, is going to be an ongoing process, but they think they are closer to their sweet spot. So now, with NPCs, more points of interest, more bad guys and bosses to kill and slay, and more reasons to do so, can Fractured Online pull back a player base? I think it's possible. A decent crowd came out to try out the MMO when it launched. I think for some people, they didn't like it and they're just not going to be re-interested in trying again, but I think a lot of people will. Plus, it was very obviously an early access and it was announced as such and made very obvious, so they could. I think a lot of people will come back and try it, especially knowing that there's no wipes. It's not like you have to spend any additional money. You've already bought the games. You can just hop on if you've already bought it on Steam. Are these changes enough to grab MMO players' attention to come try out Fractured Online? I don't know. What do you think? Possibly. I think there's enough here if it's fun, if it all works, and it feels cohesive and the world doesn't feel as boring, then yes, I think they could. But let me know in the comments down below, did you play Fractured Online during its early access periods? What did you think? Are you going to come back to try these changes? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like the video and subscribe for more of that good old-fashioned MMO and RPG content. And until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming. I want to give a very special thank you to the members of Napalm for your contributions month over month in keeping me full-time. You help me pay the bills so I can keep streaming and pumping out content, and I truly appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, and I think you might be interested in becoming a member of the channel. Please click the join button down below the video for more information and join our family. And I want to give an extremely big shout out to the Lords of Napalm: Bounty Code, Jared Woodhouse, Dimeblows, Sparrow, Random Rob, Zelik Lived, Rodney Mom, Gallery Moonsong, What's the Takeaway, Trips, Bad Wolf Gaming, Chrono Guru, Cobalt, William Long, Ohalo, and Robert Daneka. Thank you for your highest tier membership.